Two drug dealers who forced a customer to work for them after savagely beating him have been jailed. The two men from London, Motib Ahmad, who's 23, and Anas Elobi, who's 22, set up a drugs line in Southend, sending out almost 8,000 text messages advertising the availability of Class A drugs between March and June 2021. Early into the operation, the pair known as Cruds, who was Ahmed and A1 Elobi, to customers accused one of their buyers of stealing drugs from them. The victim had visited a friend's house where the drug dealers were present. Shortly after he left, the victim received a phone call from Ahmad demanding to know where his stuff was, accusing him of stealing drugs, the court was told. In a sinister threat, Ahmad told the victim he and Elobi knew where he lived. Believing it would be an admission of guilt if he ignored their texts, the victim agreed to return to the house to discuss the missing drugs, the prosecution said. On arrival, he was set upon in the kitchen. Ahmad threw the first punch, knocking him sideways onto a worktop. Elobi then joined the assault, hitting the victim repeatedly as Ahmad struck him with a walking stick. To stop the beatings, the victim agreed to pay back the value of the missing drugs. However, he did not have enough money to pay off the debt, and the dealers told him he must work for them to pay off the debt, delivering reloads of drugs to their runners on the streets. On August 24, 2021, police officers raided a property in Southend where they arrested the two dealers and seized drugs, phones and cash. In her sentencing remarks, the judge, Samantha Cohen, said, "You accused the victim of having stolen drugs from you. He denied that, and the pair of you visited considerable violence upon him. When he didn't have any more money, he was made to work as a small cog in the trouble line, delivering drugs from you to two other runners on the streets. You made him work as a slave to sell your drugs, and that is totally unacceptable." Rob Mail from Essex Police's Operation Raptor South team, who led the investigation, said Ahmad and Elobi exploited a vulnerable man in Southend and used his home as their base from where they operated in Southend. They believed they were getting away with their poisonous actions, but they were unaware of the sophisticated investigation being carried out into them, which meant when they were arrested in Southend in August, the weight of evidence against them left them with very few options but to admit their roles. He said, while our focus can often be on enforcement, this runs hand in hand with the work we do to help safeguard others whose homes are being used by these gangs under the threat of violence. This is not acceptable, and it truly shows how those gangs exploit vulnerable people. So the man whose home had been taken, he's been safeguarded. So Ahmad was jailed for a total of 5 years in prison, while Elobi got around 4.5 years. So guys, this is a new story coming from the south. It's your boy GT. Keep it locked, keep it real.